Call the meeting to order. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I get a motion to approve the minutes from last month.
Move it.
Second.
Legislator Martino, seconded by Legislator Twist. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, can I get a motion to move onto resolutions? Can I get a motion to remove GC7, GC8, GC9 as a block? Are we gonna go by, you want to do them all? So what do I do? Just go, just read through all of them? Okay. Can I get a motion to move GC7, GC8, GC9, PS1, PS2, PS3, HS1, HS2, HS3, HS4, HS5, HS6, HS7, HS8, HS9, HS11, HE1, HE2, IT2, IT3, IT4, IT6. We have okay, all right. FP1, FP2, FP3, FP4 as a block. Legislator Walpole, seconded by Legislator Twist. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed. So going back to IT8. This is a resolution establishing a capital project number 1423 parking lots. Can you pass this around, please? Move on to Legislator Lockwood. Schultz.
Already go.
You've already got it. Moved by Legislator Walpole. Can I get a second? Second by Legislator Martino. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed. Going to FP5. This is a resolution authorizing the amendment of the grades in the management compensation plan for attorney titles. Can I get a motion? Legislator Walpole, can I get a second? Legislator Lockwood, any discussion?
Do you want me to explain it, or is it the members?
Does everybody understand it? Okay,
This was the proposal, right?
No.
What's this?
Oh, okay, 4.
Or, okay, yeah, never mind. I just want to make sure we're on. I got you.
Oh, I got it. And the stipend was calculated into these, correct?
Yes.
Just want to confirm.
all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed. FP6, this is a resolution authorizing the amendment of the management compensation plan. Can I get a motion?
Move it.
Legislator Martino, can I get a second?
No, sorry.
Legislator House, any discussion?
Okay. Essentially, this is to amend the language currently in the management compensation plan to consolidate our health insurance plans into one. And it sets the prescription drug co-pays equal to that amongst all the other plans that we have. It's for really, there's no cost change. Our premiums still remain the same percentage that we would have according to the contract language. This basically for the ease of administration of the plan. We still have our HRA benefits to offset the co-pays and that would be implemented.
Thanks, Julie.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passed. FP7, this is a resolution authorizing budget modification to increase other equipment for our fixed asset monitoring. Can I get a motion? Legislator
I'll
Walpole,
second
seconded by Legislator House. Any discussion? All in favor?
it. Aye.
Any opposed? Passed. All right, I have a walk-on of FP8, resolution establishing capital project number 1523, clear ballot voting machines. Has everybody had the opportunity to review this?
Well, you need one day.
Nobody has them? Give one down to Linda. Peg, do you want one?
No,
The resolution?
Sure.
Anybody else want one? Can I get a motion?
Tell me.
Legislator House, how about a second? Legislator Walpole. Can you give a little bit of a description of this, Peg?
Well, I'm working on getting the machines for 2 years, talking about it, and then once they got approved by the state, the shipment showed up at the Board of Election with, that it had to be paid within 30 days. I did not know how it actually worked for a capital project. I thought it was done when we filed the paperwork. So anyway, we've got the machines, we need to pay for them. They'll be done probably tomorrow when all the machines are there. And now they're doing the EMS room and that'll probably be done tomorrow. So they're complete and ready to go. And we're getting rid of the others. So we just need to pay for it.
You're good with the machines.
We got the new machines, they're nice. Mike came over today, he saw them, like here in
Okay.
not a whole lot different than the others, but they're much better quality and they actually work. So they did.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Yeah.
We don't have
We
choice.
only have a choice, yeah. Okay. Moving on to reporting department. Personnel?
Yes, so, current up to date as of August 20th, the vacancy savings to date.
I'm sorry.
That's-
Go ahead.
Okay. So as of 8/20, the savings to date is $5,397,585. And as far as our exams, we will have the departments would be happy to know that continuous improvement list will be out by the end of the month. We're giving control officer exam this weekend. And there's also a number of our last file dates for exams is next Wednesday, so feel free to reach out, to any of your constituents and employees to look online and sign up for the exams.
And well, we're gonna go around him. Treasurer.
All right. I know you've been here a while, so we're going to take this as brief as we can.
Thank you.
Does the county administrator want to take the lead, or you want to go before us, before we go through the numbers, or?
Where you? No, go ahead.
Okay.
So go ahead.
Thank you. Actually, real quick, so I had 3+1 here as well. So we're going to do the annual report from 2022. Everything was reported on time. It's just we haven't been able to get up here to work with the committee. 3+1 is going to go over the transparency. I've said this since day one, where our money is. You don't have to really, if you want to, you can noodle through this with a paper, or you can just wait and we'll put them up on the screen. And later on, if you have questions, let us know.
Okay, thank you. All right, so the first page, or second page actually, this shows us our general fund balance, and the most important part is it went from 45.6 million to 55.7 million for the end of 2022.
To your right, so. It's underneath the, there you go. Sales tax and everything. I'll sorry about that.
Sorry.
Real quick, again, I'm gonna keep doing this, but originally we were talking, I mentioned to the county administrator that, we're looking at about 60 million as a good number to use for budgeting and everything like that. Obviously, we have to make some deductions. We're gonna probably do some other things to raise that back up, but, you know, right now, we're still feeling comfortable with the 60 million. But this shows 55, that's all. We had to make some deductions.
All right, so the next page is the graph indicating all of the information on the previous page. On page 4 shows all of the fund balances for each fund that is in the accounting system. Page 5 is the reserve fund analysis at the end of 2022. Page 6, this is the amount that we, it's a history actually of the amount that's raised by real property tax. This is a graph of that same history, and it indicates the appropriations, the revenue, and the property tax levy. Page 8 is a comparison of 2021 to 2022 actual expenditures for each one of the categories that are in the state AUD. Page 9 is the revenue comparison for the same data. Page 10 is our workman's comp and health insurance funds balance sheet. Page 11 is the sales tax revenue distribution from 2018 to 2022. Page 12 is the graph for that.
Yeah, if we notice, I want to just mention, if we notice, the city of Fulton is making as much as, let's see, the towns and villages. That's unfair, people. Anyway, I just want to point that out. It's been like that for a while, hopefully they change.
All right, page 13. This is the town revenue distribution of sales tax, mortgage tax, and the snow contracts. It's a good tool for the legislators when they're talking to their towns regarding their budgets. Page 14 is the community college tuition chargeback for 2022. Another good information for the towns, or when anybody actually calls. We've had a few calls in our office about the workman's comp tax that we separate out. They want to know how that all works. So I believe they spoke maybe to Melissa too. Yeah. So page 15 is a graph on the community college from 2012 to 2022. And the last page is the full valuation and the generic tax rate comparison from 2014 to 2022. And do you want to explain this?
Well, just what's interesting is if you look at the last 21, 22, 23, full value has increased. What the legislature is doing by doing their good not spending so much money is that they're compensating in the bottom one, the generic tax rate, they're lowering that. So that's a good sign to see a wave going up on the top one. Your full value is going up, which obviously it's all us homeowners. But obviously they're not taking that money and running with it. They're actually trying to lower the tax rate up for the taxpayers. So I just want to say that's a great tool to look at. You know, you're going actually going and doing the right thing as a legislature. So, like I said, that was very quick. Everybody has a copy. We can submit it to anyone that wants one. It's really just the overall is the Oswego County shows that we are healthy. And you know, our sales tax, if you look at the sales tax on the front, we're up 1.8 million for the year. And then when Alex starts talking, you'll see that our investments are up. So that's always a good thing as well. So we do have, we are doing okay on that. There's negatives, but there's nothing really to be a watch out at this point. And other than that, I think, I want to thank Robin. I mean, everything was done in a timely manner. A lot of counties struggle trying to get it in on time. And the accuracy, I have to compliment the department head for putting in the information correctly. And if there's any problems, questions, please let us know. Because there's nothing worse than January finding out that people didn't put in revenues or something incorrect and trying to chase it for the year for our expenditures. So anyways, that's it from that standpoint. Now, like I said, transparency, I want to introduce you to Alex DeRosa. He's with 3+1. It's a company that you actually helped me, supported me in getting them involved in our investments. And I just want to turn it over to you.
Thank you very much, Kevin.
Yeah.
The presentation could go up. It was on Kevin's
Yeah.
thumb drive.
Oh, sure, of course.
Thank you, I appreciate it. While that's going on, as Kevin said, my name is Alex DeRosa. I'm from 3+1. I want to thank Kevin and Robin for the opportunity to speak today, as well as the board giving me a few minutes here. What we do at 3+1 is different than what you would expect from most financial providers, because we're not a bank and we're not an investment advisor. So we're not taking county cash and we're not trying to sell the county investments. Our goal is to use data and peer benchmark information to make sure the county is always earning and saving the most that they can on taxpayer dollars. Our CashVest product that you're seeing here is endorsed by NISAC and NACO, the National Association of Counties, as a best practice, because we're an independent third party that helps public entities use each other's information to maximize the value of taxpayer dollars. These are some of the metrics we use to measure the county's performance, and on the next slide, you'll see how well the county is doing with their CashVest score of a 90 out of 100. This is the highest score the county's had at any point, and it's coming at a perfect time because interest rates are as high as they've been at any point in the past 15 years. So the county is truly maximizing their opportunity right now and on their way to receiving a 90+ award from 3+1 in the coming year as well. On the next slide, you'll see a brief overview of the county's current partnerships on the banking and investment side. 5 different banks that the county works with, 5 different investment relationships. Some of those investment relationships overlap with banking relationships. But there's been about $1.3 million of interest earned from July 2023 to April 2023, the most recent quarter that we reviewed. And in the most recent 12 months, $2.2 million of interest earnings. I expect both of those numbers to continue to trend up in the short term because of everything Kevin and Robin have done to lock in interest rates when they are so high at this point. So I'm sure you've seen the news over the past year, consistent increases in rates. The county's still riding that wave up and will experience that for the next quarter to 2 quarters at least. And then we'll be leveling off potentially, but Kevin and Robin have done a great job to lock in some of these great rates for a longer period of time and really take advantage of what's out there right now. On the next slide, you'll see a breakdown of the past 12 months, each bank and investment partner that the county's working with. There is no specific requirement as to the number of banks or partners that any one county works with, but the Comptroller and Government Finance Officers Association encourage diversification. That's the biggest thing. You don't want to have all your eggs in one basket. And protect taxpayer dollars by working with a wide range of partners. And the county does a great job of supporting local partners as well as large national partners that have different technology options that some local partners are not able to provide. So I, again, always like to give credit where credit's due, because there are some counties who say, I work with one bank and one bank only. Kevin and Robin do a little extra work spreading the wealth around and making advantage of opportunities in different places. This graph here shows you the past 3 years of the county's cash position. Now, I always like to highlight the differences between a financial report, like what Robin presented, and what the bank is seeing. Banks don't get to look at your cash by fund like you all do every day. And banks are paying interest based on what's in their bank account. So we want to make sure we're maximizing based on both views, the accounting side and the bank view. Clearly you can see cash positions have been rising, as the green represents the most recent year, the yellow is last year, and the purple is 2 years ago. That's common for every New York State county we work with. We work with, I believe, 26 of the counties in New York State currently. One thing that did separate Oswego County a little bit is more recently, you can see this yellow line from last year is starting to approach where you are this year. It's starting to get a little bit close. And we haven't quite seen that yet in too many counties. We are expecting to see that because ARPA dollars are going to be spent down. Sales tax probably can't keep going up forever. I don't know, maybe it can. But it's possible we're reaching a peak. So I just wanted to highlight that while your cash position is increased, it's approaching similar levels to last year. And the next slide is a little bit of a deeper dive. 2022 in January through the end of July, the cash position increased by 43 million. This year it only increased by about 27 million during those same months. We know ARPA funds did not come in this year, so that explains a significant portion of that difference, but not quite everything. In terms of the outflows, the number of dollars that have left bank accounts, ignoring the inflows, in 2022 there was about 62 million for those same months, and there was about 80 million in 2023. So I think that could be part of the reason as to why that gap is narrowing a little bit. I always want to rely on the accounting information that goes by fund. It's a more accurate look at the true financial picture of the county. But in terms of bank balances, you're approaching similar levels to last year. So I just wanted to highlight that fact. The next slide just shows where the county was when we started working together in early 2020. There was about $55 million of investment opportunity at that point in time. The county was using CDs as their main investment tool. Fast forward to today on the next slide, there's nearly $101 million of investment opportunity. So that shows again how much that cash position has increased. The county is now averaging over $70 million in fixed income investments. That compares to about $8 million before working with 3+1. And the county is using a mix of CDs, CDARs, treasuries, and high yield liquid accounts. All, again, diversifying those products and providers to consistently maximize the taxpayer dollars. Last slide here just shows the benefits of using data in this financial management approach. Prior to working with 3+1, the county was earning less than the public funds benchmark rate. Since working with 3+1, the county's earned about $3.2 million in interest overall, and 2.28 of that 3.2 million is due to the fact that they're performing closer to benchmarks. And that's our goal. Just make sure that the county is always getting fair competitive value, and Kevin and Robin's efforts have gone a long way in ensuring that's happened over the past 3 years, and the benefits are growing exponentially. You can see the increase in the cash flow score on the top right as well. Last slide just says my contact information. If you all have any questions anytime, I'm happy to answer them. And you'll likely see us at NISAC events. We have chocolate cookies at our table all the time, so please stop by and say hello anytime. Thank you.
Yeah, so I just want to say that I did offer them $10 for every time you said great Kevin and Robin or good Kevin and Robin, so I got 7 times. But in reality, though, I just want to say I really appreciate the committee. Pretty much the same folks that supported me bringing them on, and it was kind of a mystery if they would actually do what they would do. And the great thing about them is they do not tell me how to invest it. They give us options, and they do not direct us on either way, what way. They just give us all the options, and then we move. And then the other great tool is like Pathfinder Bank. We didn't really have it's hard to deal with local banks because you have friends that run them. It's hard to negotiate with them. You bring a third party in, Alex doesn't care where I would, and it creates it took that conflict right out. Like Pathfinder did step up in the beginning of all this, trying to get these great interest rates and helping us out. I just want to compliment them. I do want to note that you'll see a score of 2.5 or something in the stars. And I don't know if it attributes to this, but Key Bank is not the greatest to deal with. Unfortunately, some departments want to deal with them. They're starting to come around, but the rates are not there, so we have to take a hit for it because I don't feel comfortable when the department wants to deal with Pete. Let me ask, And Alex, can you confirm that?
Yes, and Key's been able to provide great investments through treasuries. Their traditional bank accounts aren't always the most competitive, but that's part of what we bring to the table is finding where the competitive options are within each bank. Because like Kevin said, We're completely agnostic, independent to any product, any bank. So sometimes banks will say we can't do anything here, but we can do something over here. So we just want to make sure we're shifting as many dollars as we can to where they're willing to do the best.
But they're stepping up, so we can foresee in the future that hopefully will be as good as well. You gotta really stay hopeful in a lot of ways, instead of dealing with the larger ones. That's it. I really, again, thank you for the support that you've given our department. And if there's any questions after today, please feel free to reach out, and we'll answer.
Thank you, Cal, for coming. Administration?
Thank you. As everybody probably knows, September is my favorite month of the year because it's budget time, and I meet with every department and go through their requests. Those are all being finalized and firmed up now, or not finalized, but entries in the munis are being completed. Meetings start next week. I spend 2 or 3 weeks at that, and another couple of weeks after that, mulling it over, working with the departments to try to lower things, and getting you a draft in sometime in October. And that's when I punt to the legislature, and it's all yours. As a preview of some of the strengths and challenges that we have this year, we're getting hit pretty hard by some decisions made by other bodies, being in New York State and the federal government. We have direct hits on our tax levy as the result of a Supreme Court case that is removing about $1.5 million in revenue from the sale of tax properties. New York State made some decisions that could cost us an extra $1 million or so in assigned counsel. We have Medicaid. New York State has decided to intercept our federal Medicaid aid and keep it for itself. That's going to increase about $1.8 million. We have, as we passed today in your packets, very large increases to expect in foster care and adoption subsidies, and that's due to having to pay 100% of the allowable rates for those folks. We also have increased costs in the jail due to the jail medical contract, and that is also mandated. On the brighter side, our sales tax, as the Treasurer reported, remains strong and may be able to compensate a bit by increasing our revenues there. We have a potential new contract for snow and ice that would save us $500,000. And we have the taxable assessed value of the county has increased by $1 billion because of the market growth and the value of the property. The tax cap that we have to come in underneath allows us to add $2.4 million to the tax levy. So we need to come in below that. We also will be entering into a season of negotiating with nuclear power plants. Fitzpatrick is coming due, so we're going to have a new tax agreement there, whether that's going to require us to do a cautionary tax cap waiver. I haven't quite been able to make that decision or recommendation yet. More information. Also, in the Treasurer's report, on page 5, you saw a report on the reserves. And they are now, that's as of the end of 22, they are now down to around $9 million, which is too low. So once the fund balance is firmed up next month, I plan to bring to the committee a fund balance and reserves plan to replenish our reserves and establish a plan for the use of fund balance going forward.
Thank you very much. Purchasing.
Okay, so we have an employee that resigned. I have hired someone, but she doesn't start until the 18th. So right now, the 3 big projects we were working on are on hold, which is fixed asset monitoring, the purchase card project, and the project to get everybody up on the purchasing system. I need staff to do that.
But we have somebody coming in,
We do have somebody coming in.
so there's light.
There's light at the end of the tunnel. Everyone just needs to be patient.
All right, so can I get a motion to adjourn? Legislator Twist, seconded. Legislator Martino. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Good night.